are there any questions? Are there any thoughts? Are there any worries? Are there any fears? And if it's crickets, I say, okay, so I'm going to read the silence as compliance. Everybody believes this is the best idea in the universe and we should go do this. If you don't, speak up. Please speak up, because you are, by being quiet, you're all indirectly agreeing with me.
I've run into an audience when someone told me the truth. I've run into an audience of people, like hundreds of people, and high-fived people when they showed the audacity and the courage to tell the truth, to speak truth to power.
An overwhelming majority of leaders that I have worked with have been begging for more feedback. It feels as if they are just yelling at the ocean and they don't get the feedback that they crave. They are worried. Am I doing the right thing? What does my team think?
Oh, not a water. I live in Cary, for Christ's sakes. No, I have a diet green tea citrus. I knew you'd like that. Entry music. Da, 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 da. It's the Bob and Josh Show.
I am excited about this. Today's episode is speaking truth to power. This is something Bob brought to me this morning. He's like, hey, this is a topic that I'd really like to cover. I want to show people how to speak truth to power. So I'm going to model that behavior right now. Bob,
Josh,
your segues, when you do the intros for our podcasts, they're not good. They're not good.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't we get more clicks and things like that?
No,
when I don't. I think we do.
I can show you the stats.
Can you show the analytics?
Yeah, yes, you're the analytics. Yeah. And feedback. You've got feedback.
Oh, Josh, that deeply wounds me. Oh,
I'm sorry it hurts, but I'm trying to speak the truth to power.
All right.
I feel bad about that. Like, I feel like I did a Bob version of the opening. Oh, so like ham-fisted. I don't know.
Well, I wanted to speak truth to your power. So I want to talk about real estate, but more specifically, screen real estate. More specifically, cranial coverage.
Yes, I don't understand, Bob.
Look at your screen, Josh.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from a coverage?
Out.
Oh, there you go. You better zoom out. You better zoom out, my friend.
Yeah.
No, Metacasters. That's our topic today. Is this? I want to set it up as a responsibility, not as an option. And again, this Metacast is for leaders. So damn it, get out of the room if you're not.
I actually want to challenge this.
Okay.
I want to challenge and say that this is something that everybody needs to do in 360 degrees. So
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, but it's not just leader in title.
Yeah.
It's leaders. We've talked about this. I think everyone should be a leader. Everyone is a leader, right? And this is one of those things that if you're a leader and, sort of you're all a leader, then this is a responsibility that you have. You have a responsibility. So let's define it. I'm thinking that something is true and it's different from what I'm hearing or what I'm experiencing or what's being said. And so there's untruth and truth. And I have the choice as a leader to shut up and let the untruth percolate. I'm not talking that it's malicious or anything like that. It's an untruth. Or I can step in with skill, with positive intent, and I can speak truth to power. And I can correct that. Maybe it's radical candor would be, that Kim Scott thing where I have radical candor so that either I can change someone else's perspective or I can have mine changed. But we still want truth, right? It's truth. Truth is the center point. So that's what I do. I speak truth to power, and I'm open-minded enough to say, I could be wrong. And then power could speak truth to me. And I'm like, that makes sense. But it's that ability to do that. What do you think, Josh? You good with that?
Yeah, without a doubt. What I spend a lot of time coaching teams on is just putting the unsaid things on the table. there are so many things when I get brought in to help a team or a company get things sorted out where everybody knows what the problem is. But unfortunately, everybody is afraid to say the thing that should be said. And there's a million reasons, a million excuses why. There's you don't want to hurt people's feelings, you're worried about repercussions. There's all of these reasons why things go unsaid. But if they remain unsaid, then they will remain a struggle. It will remain a problem. So, as a leader, again, to Bob's point, not by title, but as someone who wants to drive change, somebody has to have the willingness to put the thing on the table. And Bob and I can talk and coach you through all of the ways to do it as eloquently as possible. Not eloquently, like, forget that. Like, there's no magic words. It's to Bob's point, being open and honest. Hey, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I understand. Am I misunderstanding? That is how I always start things with. I assume that I'm wrong. And so I put things on the table like, hey, I'm worried I'm wrong here, but I'm also worried I'm not. So can you help me
Right.
figure this out? And let's close that knowledge gap. So that's always a trick that I use is I just put it out there and I assume, hey, I'm wrong, and you're going to prove me I'm wrong in 30 seconds, and we're going to move on. But if I'm right, then we'll sort out whatever the problem is.
Right. You know, one funny thing, Josh, I haven't been traveling as a coach since COVID much, but I remember when I was traveling for years, I would enter an organization. Usually I was a boutique. I am a boutique coach. So I get called in for special stuff, like
Mhm.
something's broken. So I'm not there forever. I'm there for a specific period of time. And usually within the first 2 days, people will come up to me. They know my scope. They know my brand a little bit, and they start giving me a list of things to say to leaders. And I mean, this is leaders telling me to say things to their leaders, right? So, and and I mean, I dutifully sort of jot them down and things like that. But I also remind them, I'm like, well, have you happened to say that? And no, but we'd love you to say that. And I'm like, well, if I forget, you're always there. You can always bring it up yourself. But it was inevitable. There was this avoidance, is the real point I'm making. And and it was like I was the easy guy to pick on. So I think there's maybe one of the impediments to this. I don't know if it's fear or whatever, or looking for anyone. I got the feeling they would have asked anyone, even in the organization, if there was anyone around who could take the risk for them and speak truth to power. They would have found that person and asked them to do it. And I'm bringing that up because that's the starting point of what not to do. Don't look around. It's your you have a responsibility to do it. Now, I never had the conversation. I would have loved it if someone would have said, I've said this 15 times. I've gotten a lot of heat for it. Could you happen to amplify it? Never heard something like that. It was always they had pent up frustrations, but they didn't want to speak truth.
Yeah. I've had I'd say it's 75% of my customers have been everybody knows the problem, everybody's unwilling to take the steps. And then there is the 25% where I guess I've been lucky where, hey, we've tried, we've done this, we've
Yeah,
tried, we're not sure how to, push this over the edge of the hill, and we're bringing you in to help us make that happen. But to Bob's point, most of the time, everybody kind of knows what the problems are, but everybody's unwilling. So it's often comforting to have a third party come in, validate the assumptions that you have, and start driving that change. But what Bob and I both do, and I know this, I'm not putting words in Bob's mouth here, is that we make sure that we establish the culture of, okay, cool. I started the change. Now you have to carry the change. And so one of the
right.
things I know Bob does, because I've heard him say this a bunch of times, is, hey, I'm going to come back in a year or two. And I certainly hope you haven't reverted back to where we were before I came in. So make sure you're taking all these lessons and moving it with you. And so that's a very key thing. And there's times I accept that maybe you need a little bit of nudge for us to start driving that change. But Bob and I are going to come in. We're going to establish an open communication culture where people are willing and able to put things on the table to solve the problems. So part one is, hey, you need to do that. And so effective tools on how you can say the uncomfortable thing is say the uncomfortable thing, thinking you might be wrong and being ready to be wrong and potentially being happy to be wrong. Because what I've always found is that a difference in opinion, a difference in what we think is right versus wrong, is really just a difference in knowledge. So if Bob and I are on opposing sides of a thing, and this is Bob and I have started so many metacasts where we think we are opposites and we think we're going to argue, and then as we talk it through, we fill in the knowledge gaps, and I understand what Bob's thinking. Bob understands what I'm thinking. And then we end up looking at each other like, oh, dang it, we agree. We're on
Right.
the same page. But that's because we're willing to put it all on the table and have a discussion and say, this is what I believe. This is what I understand things to be. Then Bob does the opposite. Well, this is what I understand things to be. And like, oh, crap, we actually agree. We're just saying it with different words. And that is so often the problem that is out there. It's just different words are being said. So step one is put it on the table, have a discussion, hope that you're wrong, learn from your peers, and you guys will undoubtedly land in whatever the appropriate spot is once you all have the same set of data.
I'm going to, and I think I've done this before recently on some Medicasts, is, we have this aspiration, Josh, you know this, where we want to bring tools. We want to share tools and tactics with the Medicasters. And sometimes in my heart, I'm like, there is no special tool or tactic. It's the will to do it, and just do it. Now there are tools and tactics maybe to refine your messaging. Like Josh just gave you a refinement, which is put something out there hoping to be wrong, or even saying, I hope to be wrong, but this is what I see or was. That's an effective tool or tactic to speak truth to power. But I'm going to just say, forget the tactics, Metacasters. You have to put it on the table. So just put it on, even if you suck at putting it on the table, I think you need a pat on the back and give yourself grace that you put it on the key thing here is not how elegantly you do it. It's that you do it. We just talked about it. Most people don't do it. Most people don't speak truth. They know it's broken and no one's saying it. So I'd say, muster up your courage, muster up your backbone, muster up your voice, and just say it. Now, over time, as you do that, that's actually probably how I've gotten better in different tactics. I was sort of shot down, or Bob, you're being too aggressive. Okay, all right, I'll back off. And so I've learned over time, but the learning was driven from putting it on the table. And because if you don't, I don't have the right tactic. Oh, I'll get it the next time. Oh, I'm not sure this is the right timing. Oh, maybe Christmas is a better time to do it. I can wrap it up with a bow. No, get it on the table is what I'm trying to say. And then learn from there. Josh, was I too over the top there, do you think?
No, I agree with you completely. So no matter what tactics you have, there's still that initial fear that people have to get over. And to Bob's point, the more you do it, the more you stumble, the more you fumble, the better you're going to get.
Yeah.
So if this is a skill you want to develop, like any skill, you have to just do the thing. So if you want to go be a professional golfer, the first time you step on the driving range, your swing is going to be terrible.
But
you know what?
My swing?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a swing?
You have to start swinging. You can't play golf without starting to swing. And so you can't get better at being a leader and driving a change without being the one willing to say the uncomfortable
driving
thing.
A change? Oh, nicely played.
I kind of wish I did that on purpose. It just sort of happened, but that's okay. All right. So there's a couple things. Number one, without a doubt, it starts with the will to drive the change and the unwillingness to continue to live in the world where there's this thing that's holding you and your team back. So number one, the gumption has to happen. You have to decide, daggone it, I'm going to make that change. Now, there are tools that you will learn over time that maybe give you a little bit of extra confidence to go do the thing. Maybe it'll be more effective. But you know what? The most important thing is that it's said. How it falls out of your brain, it might feel terrible. It might not be the way you want to, but that's okay. Actually, I was talking with a executive friend of mine, and we have been working through, both of us have been working through some challenging discussions with investors and founders and difficult conversations like that. And we were both talking about how frustrating it is that the day after you have a really hard discussion, you think, oh man, if I would have said it like this, it would have been so much better. That always happens. That never goes away. But the most important thing is that we had the conversations, and you're always going to think about, oh, I could have done that better. Because the good thing is you're likely going to have another discussion like that at some point if you really are leading and if you really are driving change. So just do the thing, to Bob's point.
That's good. I want to even double down. I'm in because of politics in this country. I get persnickety, and I want to double down, Metacasters. So it's like my double down is if you're not doing it, you're lying. We're talking about you're speaking truth to power. Truth is, okay, the CEO comes into your office and says, I want to bet the ranch on this feature. It's going to drive 85% of our new revenue stream next year. And we're going to start hiring people based on it. And you know in your heart that you've actually done some experiments and no one gives a shit about it. No customer gives a shit about it. You know that to be truth. You don't know. You think that Walmart called your CEO up, one customer, big customer, and said something about this as they were drinking bourbons, for God's sake. So they were like a little bit toasted, and they mentioned this, and now your CEO has triggered on it. So you're sitting there at the table. You could be a senior architect. You could be a director. You could be a VP, a CTO like Josh. You could be product, whatever. You're sitting there at the table and you're hearing this. What do you say? Right? That's false. Maybe not as strong as a lie, but it's non-truth. It's non-truth. And now what do you do? And what we just said, Josh, in the beginning, said 75% of the people just allow that to emerge. Okay. Oh my God. Actually, they amplify it. Sounds good. Right? We'll add it to the backlog. Right? We'll pop it to the top of the backlog just for you. Because you know more than we all do, etc. No, that undermines everything. That's a lie. The emperor has no clothes. All I'm getting at is there's no waffling here. You are not leading if you're allowing that crap to continue. You're not doing the CEO a service. You're not doing the company a service. You're not doing yourself a service, and you're not doing your teams a service by knowing that this is a false direction and allowing it. That's the truth to power situation. And you got to say something about it. And I don't know the way I'm getting emotional about it because sitting on your butt and accepting it is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. You're not doing your job, particularly if you're in a formal leadership role. But if you're in any influence role,
Man, I love this Bob. This is my favorite Bob. It is fantastic. So one of my favorite sayings that I use to trigger people out of being quiet is silence is compliance. So a lot of times where I'm driving change and I'm talking through, hey, this is what I think we should do. This is the plan that I have. This is the direction that I want to take us. Are there any questions? Are there any thoughts? Are there any worries? Are there any fears? And if it's crickets, I say, okay, so I'm going to read the silence as compliance. Everybody believes this is the best idea in the universe and we should go do this. If you don't, speak up. Please speak up, because you are, by being quiet, you're all indirectly agreeing with me.
You're all in on it.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I have found that gets people just uncomfortable enough of, wait a minute, he's telling me if I'm quiet, I'm agreeing with him. Wait a minute, let me say something. And so that's a tool that I use to get people going. And I often like get silence is, and then somebody like shoots a word out. Wait a minute. We aren't agreeing with this. Right. So on both sides, being silent means you're agreeing, because there's just an assumption that if you're not speaking up, if you're not saying, hey, wait a minute, I don't understand that, that doesn't make sense, then you agree with it. So leaders, number one, really great leaders will ensure that their team understands the change that's being driven, believes in it, and has confidence that it's going to happen, and is willing to do the hard work to make that happen. Not great leaders say a thing and hope nobody says anything.
Yep.
So if you're that leader and you say a thing and you're like, okay, cool, there's the change, and let's go back to work, then you're failing. Everybody else on that team, somebody's going to have to step up. Somebody's going to have to do the uncomfortable thing and say whatever needs to be said. It has to happen.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
Can we role play real quickly? You know that CEO example I just had with that feature that's so important? Can you be like the CTO counter voice to that?
Sure.
And just real quick, and then I have a little role play beyond it. I want a point I want to make. So I just had my little spiel.
Yeah.
And Josh, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the way I attack these problems is I just start asking for facts that drive why we're doing something. Okay. So we should build this feature. How many customers have asked for this feature?
Walmart, which is 98% of our customer base. And I know the CEO. I know his family. They invited me last Christmas, and it's important.
Bob.
Josh.
The answer is no. We're not going to do that. We can't do that. Number one, we haven't put it through our process to evaluate whether it's a thing that we should do or not. We have a whole team of insanely smart people that have done months and months of work to validate these are the most important things for us to build.
I did deactivate the team. I sort of unempowered you too a little bit. All right. Can we finesse it, Josh? What do you think?
No, we don't finesse things. We can take the idea. We can take, it might be the world's best idea. Fantastic. We have an equally fantastic system that goes in and validates it and says, yes, this is the thing that we should do. And then decides, because Bob, this is going to cost millions for us to do. Everything we do costs millions for us to do. So let's be thoughtful, build with real intent, and know that what we're building is the most important thing.
Stop. Okay. You had me at hello. You had me at no. All right. I got it. One other thing. I want to thank you for the courage that you showed in saying no to me. We have a relationship and you don't always. So I respect you and I respect the no. And I want a culture of telling the truth. And Josh, I don't like what you said. I hate what you said. Right. I'm almost hate you, but almost. But I appreciate the truth. I don't want any bullshit in this company. We can't. We will fail if we base our strategies on bullshit or sort of compliance to telling someone what they want to hear versus the truth. So I appreciate the truth. Let's move on. Done. That was the role play I wanted to play to everyone. The thing I was trying to role play Metacasters is you are now me as a leader. How do you set up a culture for truth telling? You have to appreciate truth telling. And I wasn't BSing. If this was in real life with Josh, I would give him a hug because I would know how hard it is to tell the truth. I would know how challenging it is to tell the truth. I would know how courageous it is to tell the truth. And I would appreciate him in doing his damn job in telling the truth. And I've done this. I've run into an audience when someone told me the truth. I've run into an audience of people, like hundreds of people, and high-fived people when they showed the audacity and the courage to tell the truth, to speak truth to power. And one of the reasons, one, it's my stupid enthusiasm. It's who I am. But I'm also subliminally trying to set the culture to say, that's what we want. Right. This is the kind of culture we're saying. So culture shaping as a leader. Josh, take it anywhere you want. I just wanted to set that up.
I was thinking, if you work with me and you want to see the highest level of enthusiasm explode out of Josh, it will be when somebody does exactly what Bob just said. When somebody says, Josh, I think you're wrong here. I think this is a bad plan. Before they say anything else, I jump out of my seat, virtual or in person, and say, "Great! Let's talk about it." Like, what do we?
Exactly.
What? Because I go overboard trying to emphasize how willing and excited I am to hear somebody say no, or I think this is wrong, or I'm worried about this, because you have to work insanely hard to create a culture where everybody feels safe and willing to say the thing that needs to be said. So go overboard, which I do, and it makes people uncomfortable, which has backfired on me a little bit. I actually had somebody say, like, "Hey, can you not act like that next time I do something?" Because it made me really uncomfortable. I'm like, "Oh, okay, so maybe I went overboard a little bit." But Bob and I both believe that you have to work insanely hard to create this environment that we want, where truth telling is the norm. So unfortunately, it's not the norm. So you have to do the things that Bob and I are talking about to create an environment where it is the norm. And you, as a leader, if it's not happening, then it's your fault. It's on you. You have not enabled or highlighted or supported that. So start fixing that right now.
The flip side of it is you taking the courage as a leader and having those hard conversations with the board. So think of it as sending and receiving. Am I truth telling outward? And am I receiving truth telling inward? And how am I reacting on both cases? And as a leader, are you willing to have those hard conversations? I remember years ago, I worked at iContact and I worked for a very young CEO, Ryan Ellis at the time. I was probably in my 40s. Ryan was 23, I think, 22, 23. And I was a new member of senior staff there. So he didn't really know me. And I had to burst his bubble in quite a few ways. And I was in my first 2 weeks or something like that. So I was a little bit leery about it, but it was a truth telling exercise, and it was around Agile, and I did it. And I remember he didn't appreciate the truth telling. He appreciated the message. I think he had set up that culture. He had tried to set up that culture, but I don't think a lot of people would enter and have these conversations with him. Not only was he receptive, but he took immediate action on it, which impressed me. He immediately started not only listening, but acting in a different way. And part of the truth telling was his senior staff. And he needed to do some coaching with other members of his senior staff. And he immediately started doing that. And to this day, I really admire that part of him. He was trying his best to shape a culture as a leader. But we have to step out. And I don't know if I don't know if I told people. I didn't put placards up, but my staff knew that I was going to have that conversation. It's like, I got that. I will have that conversation. I will speak truth to power. Now I'm role modeling it further. So you have the reception role model and you have the sending role model. That's really important as a leader, that you're walking your talk.
So I'll be interested to hear your response to this question. So as Bob was talking, I started thinking about the number of times I've had to have these discussions. And I think maybe 3 or 4 times in my 25 career has the ultimate response, maybe not immediately, but the ultimate response is thank you. Very similar to what Bob modeled in the role play that we did. Ultimately, it ends up in a thank you. It might be a shock to the system in that moment where the person's off guard and like, wait a minute, this is uncomfortable. I don't get it. I don't understand. But after the processing has been processed and people have thought about it, at least 95% of the time, the ultimate response is thank you. And the thank you is in multiple directions. It's from the power that you spoke to that has realized, okay, number one, I've got a great partner in Bob or Josh, in that they're willing to have the discussion with me. And then the other direction of thanks is from your team, because they know you have their back and you're going to go to battle for whatever is appropriate for you and your team. But there have been like minuscule numbers, maybe like 4 out of 100, where the ultimate response is, hey, thanks for that, but we're just going to throw it in the trash. But at that point, then I knew, okay, well, I probably shouldn't be working at this place anymore. Like this isn't the culture that I want to be a part of. But the overwhelming majority of the discussions that I've had have landed ultimately with, man, I'm glad you said that thing. Somebody needed to say it. I'm so glad you did, and we wouldn't be where we are without you saying these things.
I don't know if I've had that same. It's not a agree or disagree. It's I'm revisiting my experience, Josh. I don't think I've had such a high hit rate
Ooh,
as you have. I've had more of a maybe 60-40 hit rate of 60% thank yous, 40% denial,
mm,
or something like that, uh, off the top of my head. So, but the important point I want to make is that's almost irrelevant. As a leader, we have a response, whether it's well received or not, doesn't matter,
right.
right? We have this responsibility to speak truth to power. You're lucky. Remember, we've talked about in other episodes where 80%. There's a curve to leaders. There's terrible leaders, average leaders, and excellent leaders. I think average and excellent are going to be more receptive. I think the terrible leaders
Oh yeah.
they're not going to receive the truth, whatever that percentage is. Don't let that dissuade you. We have a responsibility. Don't avoid. Oh, they're not going to take it anyway. Well, tough willikers. Go give it to them anyway. That's your job. I don't know where 12 willikers came from, but it's your job to give it to them. If you get fired or if you get chastised or whatever, that's, to Josh's point, that may be giving you signals that you need to go somewhere else. But until you go somewhere else, you still have a responsibility to speak truth to power, right? To do your best. I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and say, I am leading. I am doing the best job I can in leading. And an attribute of that, a significant attribute of that, is speaking truth to power. So yeah, and again, when you have those leaders that Josh is talking about, take them to lunch, buy them a bottle of scotch. They're good ones. Not just not receive the thank you from them. Oh, thank you for that. No, I appreciate that, but thank you for handling truth as nicely as you did, as professionally as you did. I appreciate you as well, and be grateful for that.
Another experience that I've had, and we'll see if Bob's experience aligns with mine, is that an overwhelming majority of leaders that I have worked with have been begging for more feedback. It feels as if they are just yelling at the ocean and they don't get the feedback that they crave. They are worried, am I doing the right thing? What does my team think? All of those things. So there's a fair amount of coaching that I do with some of the tools and tips that we talked about to help them change that behavior. But so many of the leaders that I've worked with have said to me, man, I just wish my team would just like disagree with me or something. It just, I think I'm doing the right thing, but I would love to hear that they're on board or they're not. And so there's things that we can do, but it has been very, very rare where a leader just didn't care.
Again, I'm going to characterize it as the good ones, Josh. One of my favorites, Ralph Kasuba is one of my favorite leaders. I've reported to him several times in different companies. One of the things, Ralph is not perfect. Ralph and I have had disagreements. But one of the things I respect deeply about Ralph is he is a leader that behaves as Josh describes. He embraces truth telling. He appreciates it. He realizes how rare it is by not getting it as a senior leader. Now, when I've given it to him, I need to give him time to digest it. Sometimes it's really, a little, that might be a minute, that might be a day or an overnight or something like that. But at the end of the day, he always appreciates, he may not agree, but he appreciates someone having the courage and the care and the professionalism to give him that. And I've always, the good leaders I've worked for throughout my 40-year career, the good ones, so the mediocre, the good to great ones have always been just how Josh has described it. They're yearning for that. That makes them a better leader. They appreciate it immensely. And don't let those few or that moderate numbers, turn you off to doing it. Don't let that become trauma in you. Oh, I tried it once, and if I tried it 10 times, and get over that as a leader and try it again. And I guarantee you'll run into some good ones.
Yeah, one of the lessons that I've learned that I want to highlight what Bob said is that you have to accept that in these difficult discussions, when you're bringing something to the table that is contrary to the direction the company has been running and has been running in that direction with intent, you have to accept that there will not be a quick, I'm going to slam on the brakes, we're going to turn around 180 degrees, we're going to go in this new direction that Bob or Josh has said. That's not going to happen. There is going to be some level of processing time. And it's usually not minutes. It's often hours, and sometimes it's days. And early in my career, one of the challenges that I had is if I didn't get that instant response of, oh, okay, Josh, I hear you. Let's go left instead of right now. If I didn't get that response immediately, I would table flip and be like, what am I doing? What is going on here? And I realized that the issue wasn't whoever I was trying to explain or convince a thing to. It's just, it wasn't fair for me to expect that level of change to happen. So I've had to increase my patience and increase the intentionality with every discussion and seeing that I was slowly turning that ship around. And depending on the size of your company, you have to recognize there's times where it's a speedboat and that company is willing and able to make a quick turn and we're off and running. There have been companies where Bob and I have worked at together where it was a multi-billion-dollar company and it was an aircraft carrier. And you had to expect that it was going to take months to get that thing turned. But was I able to continue to keep the ship turning in the right direction, knowing we're going to get there eventually? So depending on the size of your organization, a bunch of variables, you have to be willing and ready to accept that you're not going to get that instant win. And you have to be willing and able to continue, to Bob's point, doing the right thing and saying the things that need to be said to get that big ship turn.
So Metacasters, I think we've landed this ship, and I'd like to land it with, you have, as a leader, and most of you as listeners are leaders, we said that in the beginning, you have a responsibility to be a truth teller. And hopefully we've encouraged you, we've given you some examples, we've given you some role plays where you realize that fundamental level of importance it is for a leader to show up as a truth teller. And I'm telling you the truth. If you can't be a truth teller, maybe consider another career. But it's not even the leadership role. It's your companies today in these disruptive times, AI and things. We need more truth. We need more truth tellers, not less truth tellers. So everyone, be that truth teller.
I am going to disagree with Bob.
You saved that for the end?
No, I'm going to disagree with, you need to find a different career. No, you don't. You're in the right career. You just need to decide that you're going to make the change, that you're going to drive that. And it's hard. It's scary. We get it. But if you want things to get better, nothing's going to change until you're the one that's willing to step up and say the thing that's got to be said.
Boom! Oh my God, he nailed it, Metacasters. So from beautiful downtown Cary, North Carolina.
And beautiful downtown Fuquay Arena, North Carolina.
I'm Bob Galen.
And I'm Josh Anderson.
Shake
and bake.
Take care, y'all.